Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics at the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. Of course, I'm one of your hosts for this evening, Cross, alongside my partner in crime, Nitro. Say hello.
What's up, everybody?
Nitro.
What is up? Good evening.
We, of course, are here with our weekly podcast, or well, bi-weekly at this point now.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking this evening about the announcements from the D23 Expo that went down this weekend.
Hashtag I'd rather be playing D&D. I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know.
I love the podcast and I love our job and reporting on stuff and all the stuff that we get to do as part of this.
But I really love D&D.
I tell you what though, playing Dungeons and Dragons last Monday night, like I am itching to play again now though. Like it's ridiculous how badly I'm itching to play again.
Yeah, I know, man. I wanted to play so bad.
You know, I get like our DM's not able to play on a weekly basis, but like as soon as the schedule changes 100%, we're going to be doing it weekly.
Yeah, because Joy's down, I'm down, Hannah's down, you're down.
Like we legitimately did not want to stop last week. We legitimately were ready to continue going.
Well, I get why he called it, and I'm kind of glad he called it when he called it. But when he did, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, no, we're not done.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It was a perfect point for it to wrap up after finishing the fight and stuff. Thank you for that sound alert. I don't think it's going to pop up in this page chunk, unfortunately, but thank you so much for the hello there. We appreciate it. And for the redemption of the first. Good to see your good friend Chunk.
You're a beast. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
But yeah, so it was like... But yeah, that was our first foray into Dungeons and Dragons. I was a massive fan of it, so... if you guys have not checked that out, we will be back next week with more Dungeons and Dragons. We are going to be continuing that, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to be getting back into it.
Yeah, dude, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. I talked a little bit to my brother-in-law because he knew we were starting this past week, and he asked us how it went. I'm like, dude, it was awesome. It was awesome. We ran into a cave full of kobolds. Like, I felt so nerdy saying that, but you know, it was awesome.
Well, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's like it was kind of like the final like thing of our like the nerd profile that we hadn't done was playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like we do literally everything else. Like it was the only thing.
We got gaming, you know. We got anime, comics. We got it. We got to do it.
Hey, Ed, thank you so much for that resub, my friend.
What's up, homie?
For 19 months in a row. Dang, you are a beast, Ed. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us on the later show this evening. I know it is like early morning for you there, so thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
What? What's up, MCR?
Hey, MCR music coming in. Yeah, thank you so much. 3 months in a row. Thank you, MCR. We appreciate it. Thank you for the support.
Yeah, for those of you who just popped in, obviously we're not doing D&D right now. So we're going to be doing D&D every other week, so we'll be starting that up again next week. But tonight, we're covering D23 Expo that just hit Thursday. Was it Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think
Friday,
it was.
Saturday, Sunday. That's right.
I know, it's hard to keep up with it because nobody was like paying attention on Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Like literally, like they had the big announcements for Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like on Saturday, so like nobody paid attention whatsoever.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that dropped that I read about and I heard about it, but I wasn't able to like watch a trailer or something like that.
Yeah, there was a good few trailer drops and stuff like that. But let's kind of talk about it though for like for D23, like this was the big one. This is the big one for Disney and Disney products.
Huge.
Like,
and
if you talk about the past, like they've done stuff at D23. We've had bigger announcements at D23. Like they've literally foregone announcing stuff at San Diego Comic-Con before to announce it at D23. D23 has been places where we first got to see Thanos' Black Order before Infinity War and stuff like that were revealed and all this sort of stuff. Like trailers were dropped, different things. All of this stuff has happened at D23 in the past for massive Disney-owned properties. So everyone was expecting a lot out of this. And how are you feeling now after? How are you feeling after the weekend?
So, alright, so I mean, leading up to D23, and right around, I almost said Comicsgate, good grief, San Diego Comic-Con, there was a lot of hype around, there was a lot of hype around Marvel going into Comic-Con. And it was kind of like they kind of tried to dispel the hype a little bit, saying all of our big stuff is going to be at D23. Like multiple outlets were reporting that. I think Marvel even reported that at some point, basically saying, "Don't give your hopes up for Comic Con, but you want to be there for D23." So
Yeah,
they
I think
dropped.
a lot of us were feeling that going into Comic Con, where a lot of us were feeling like we're probably not going to see much. Like, legitimately, like they've ignored Comic Con at points.
But I mean, they dropped some bangers at Comic Con. Like they dropped absolute bangers. Like they dropped the next Avengers movies, like what they're going to be,
Yeah, they
some of the
dropped everything. They
catalog.
dropped all this Phase 5 and 6 news, where everything was going, the movies that are coming out, the shows that are coming out.
Daredevil Born Again.
They dropped so much stuff.
Yeah. So
And so everyone
there
was like, well, wait a minute, this is all the sort of stuff we were expecting at D23.
yeah,
What sort of news are we going to get at D23?
exactly. So you have this huge expectations going into D23. One of the big ones for me was obviously we had a pretty good beat on who the director for Fantastic Four was going to be. I think it's Matt Shankman is his name.
Yeah.
So we pretty much already knew that. Everybody wants to know, all right, freaking, y'all have been working on this movie for at least a couple of years now, at least. Let's get some casting news. Let's at least just get the main four, right? Let's can we do that? Maybe even a doc. I would settle for a Doctor Doom. Come on, nothing. I was bummed, dude. I was
well,
like,
before we get into the
bummed.
specifics of each one, is it safe to say, and would you feel safe in saying that coming out of D23, it was a little bit disappointing on the Marvel front?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like Comic Con had way more stuff than D23 without not even close.
It's like because I think that's how I personally felt. Was like because I was texting you, like because I was getting the updates and stuff that was happening. I was keeping you updated on it and stuff. You were away from your computer at the time, so I was like getting all the D23 stuff as it was happening, because I wanted to try and catch the big announcements as they were going on, and at the very least make sure I'd seen them, I'd retweeted them,
Yeah.
I knew it was going on, so that I knew, okay, this is the stuff we're going to cover, because I knew we are going to be talking about it.
Mhm.
I legitimately remember getting to the end of everything, and after the last Marvel announcement happened, the next stuff that started coming up out of nowhere was the Avatar
Yeah.
like sequel stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly remember thinking, wait, that's it?
Yeah. Yeah, you literally texted me that.
Like, is that it? And I'm like, that was nothing. That was barely an announcement. Like, most of the stuff was like, they brought people out on stage to talk about the upcoming stuff, and even
Yeah.
like the details we got about some of the shows were like, and the movies were nothing.
Yeah. And even a lot of the stuff that they showed there, like I know they showed Quantumania like footage, they showed Echo footage, they showed some other footage. They didn't release it really.
Yeah,
They
we got
showed
the
Marvel's
Marvels
footage.
trailer, we got stuff like that, that like, there was a bunch of stuff that wasn't released. Like, a lot of trailers and stuff they did. How do you feel about that, like, the trailers? Because that was something that I still really get to. Like, I get the whole thing is about going to, like, Comic-Con or D23, is that you're trying to give the people who actually attend in person, like, this thing of, like, well, you've came here so you get to see something special, like, well in advance of others. I honestly feel when it comes to like trailers and stuff like that, and I'm like, surely once you announce that stuff, that's the stuff that everybody should be getting.
Yeah.
They get the opportunity to see it first, obviously, and then we get it released afterwards.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like the stuff that we get is that you should be getting as a special thing going to Comic Con or D23. Should be other stuff. I don't think the trailer should be something that's counted in that. Like, show
Yeah.
special footage that we don't get to see, or have special experiences, but like trailer drops that everybody's waiting for, especially when you don't have that much that you're announcing.
I remember when Infinity War hadn't come out yet, but they were building the hype towards it, and Comic Con hit, and they released the trailer for it before anybody else got to see it,
Yeah.
and they did not release it online. But what happened was there was tons of outlets that basically transcribed word for word what happened in the trailer. So here we have basically a description of a trailer that's not going to drop for another 3 months. It's infuriating. Like, to your point, I think I think maybe showing the people who are at the event some special footage that's not going to be released until the movie comes out.
Yeah.
But the trailer, man, that's for everybody. Just release it. Just release a trailer.
Yeah, because I'm thinking the trailer is like take something like the Marvels for something that they've been hyping up like crazy. The Marvels, you know, especially with having Miss Marvel being released recently and stuff like that. There's been a lot of hype around that.
Yeah.
Surely the special thing should be the fact of like you've got the 3 stars there on stage.
Yeah.
You know, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Photon all on stage together to talk about it and to converse about it. Even have them maybe take questions or something like.
Yeah.
That should be the special thing for the event. You're there, you get the actual actors. I don't get what they're getting by not releasing the trailer, though.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because like that's the thing, because like literally I've got my notes on a lot of the stuff here. I put notes together of like to make sure I hit certain points. And for the Marvels, I'm like, literally that's it. They came out on stage and it's like then they showed the trailer.
Yeah. And we got nothing.
There's like nothing else about it, and I'm like, that was the whole thing with the trailer for them, and not okay. And Matt was saying in chat there, it's like you don't really get trailers at other smaller cons around the nation, so not sure why New York and San Diego got to be so special. Like, I get that in today's day and age, like San Diego kind of became that thing of it was the big movie announcement thing, but for the last few years it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I get it. I get it to a certain extent for movies like Endgame, Infinity War, like just gigantic movies that are just going to be an event. I get it because you want to build as much hype as possible. But for stuff like, you know, the Marvels, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I just feel like this event, like it was hyped up so much, and like everyone was waiting for Saturday. Everyone was waiting for the Marvel stuff to drop, and and to a certain extent the Star Wars stuff to drop, which there wasn't a lot of Star Wars stuff either.
No.
It's like I feel like we came away from it like there's not a lot going on here, like at all.
Like, yeah, because I'm thinking about one of the specific examples was like Daredevil Born Again. Like,
yeah, they brought
Charlie Cox out. They got Vincent D'Onofrio, and they just stood on stage and talked about the show, kind of stuff we already knew.
Well, yeah, what were the big announcements? It's an 18-episode season. We knew that. They've announced that already.
We knew that both Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox
are part of it. And I'm like, part of Phase 5, we knew that. Filming set to start next year. And I'm like, okay, we didn't officially know that, but we could have guessed that since it's going to be part of Phase 5.
Yeah. And they were like, it's not a continuation of the Netflix series. Everybody's like, okay, assume that. I pretty much assume that.
Yeah, for the most part, it's like either it's stuff we knew or it's stuff we could have had a good guess about.
I just feel like if they would have reversed some of the stuff that they like introduced some of the stuff they did at D23 at Comic-Con and did some of the Comic-Con stuff at D23, I think it would have hit way harder. You think about like Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, you know, Multiverse Saga, all that stuff.
Like, why not hold off on like something like Phase 6?
Yeah.
And a couple of stuff like, imagine if they announced here at D23, oh by the way, we've announced Phase 5. Well, here's a couple of projects for Phase 5 we've not announced yet. You know, it's like hold off on Daredevil. Why not announce like Daredevil Born Again officially at D23?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And bring Charlie.
Because we already know he's going to. Because at this point, coming into D23, we already know he's literally about to appear in She-Hulk. I've seen the trailers and everything by this point, so we already know that. We already know he's about to appear in Echo. So announce officially this. Oh, by the way, yeah, he's getting his own show, and him and Kingpin are back.
Yeah.
And like announce some stuff and then go, oh yeah, by the way, also have little tidbits for Phase 6 like Fantastic Four. We'll kick off Phase 6 directed by Max Shankman, and then we'll be ending with like, you know, Kang War, Dynasty War, and like announce the final stuff for it, and like that's your Phase 6 stuff, and like and leave people with some sort of little bit of a pop.
I agree. They should have saved most of the stuff that they announced at Comic-Con for D23.
You could have saved part of the stuff for Phase 5 and anything for Phase 6. Like, even just some of the stuff for Phase 5 would have been enough to get people hyped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, because we ended up getting, like, nothing compared to what we thought we were going to get, and the rumor mills were going crazy.
Well, even like when there was all these empty spaces for properties in Phase 5 and Phase 6 on that timeline, remember?
Yeah.
Like there were all these empty spaces, and I guess this is just it's partly our fault, but there's really high expectations that at least some of those items are going to get filled in at D23.
Well, we thought so because it's D23, so we thought some of the big stuff and like. Okay, so let's talk about the big things that came out of D23.
Yep.
At least the biggest things that came out of it for me, for Marvel wise at least. And we'll talk about some of the other announcements and stuff as well. But for Marvel wise at least, because that's one of the main things that we cover on the show, obviously, was Secret Invasion. We got the trailer drop for that. I felt like there was a lot of pushing for that. Armor Wars was part of that because we found out that's basically a carry-on from it, and I'll deal with the fallout.
Almost. Yeah.
Was that, and then the Thunderbolts team announcement. That was the big announcements I felt like that everyone was talking about coming out of this. The rest of the stuff was just kind of happening. I mean, hell, even the other trailers we got weren't like big talked about. We got like a bunch of trailers, and it's like, yeah, it's like Werewolf by Night was just kind of like brushed under the carpet. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur are getting their own cartoon. That was barely talked about.
So what? All right. So let me step back a second. So out of everything that was announced, as lackluster as it was, what was your favorite thing?
Favorite thing coming out of it?
Or did you have a favorite?
It's hard to tell. Like, favorite's a hard word. I think probably the Thunderbolts and actually getting the team announcement for that was probably my favorite announcement, because it was the one that felt like we actually got a proper announcement for it. Of like something we didn't know, because all we knew was Thunderbolts, and it was one of the big talks. Anytime you do Thunderbolts or Suicide Squad or one of these sorts of movies, is who's the team?
Yeah.
So like getting the announcement of the team was basically, okay, awesome, we have a team.
I want to know your thoughts on the team.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the team is Black Widow 2 / Falcon and the Winter Soldier 2. Yeah. Because we just took people from like that movie and that show and just kind of went, Thunderbolts! And I'm like...
Dude, my question is, where's Zemo and where's Abomination?
Abomination I can let go, because the way they've set it up in She-Hulk, I'm like, okay, him not being around makes sense, because they just did a whole thing with the lawyer and the plea deal of him not being Abomination again. Yeah. If you're not going to do that, and like Tim Roth,
I guess that makes sense.
And Tim Roth isn't coming back, fair enough. Baron Zemo was a given.
Yeah.
Zemo was a given to be part of Thunderbolts.
You think they're keeping him under wraps for some reason? Well, I don't know why they would do that.
I don't know why, but I'm like, Zemo's got to be a given, right? Like, he's been the leader of the main Thunderbolts teams have been under him. Like, the one that everyone remembers is under Baron Zemo. Like, he's the one team member everyone thinks of.
Yeah. And Red Hulk.
Yeah. Well, Red Hulk, that was the other big one, was like, is it going to be like Red Hulk and like, Thunderbolt Ross's Thunderbolts, which is a completely other take, which they could have done, which is more anti-hero.
Yeah.
Like, which could have been a cool way to bring in a lot of people as well for that, but I'm like, the team is made up of Yelena Belova, Black Widow's sister, who, don't get me wrong, I love Florence Pugh, but they have got like some massive thing about this character.
Yeah.
They are like building her up ridiculously, and I'm like, I do not agree with her, because she's being pushed here as apparently the leader of the Thunderbolts, and I'm like, no. And I'm like, you're pushing her as the leader of the Thunderbolts when you've got somebody like, I don't know, Winter Soldier on the team. She's the leader, and you legitimately have Bucky Barnes on the team.
Yep.
Who, in the comics, led the Thunderbolts at one point as well, and I'm like, why is he not leading it? Why is he even on it? The rest of them are very much like anti-hero characters, like villains, and like, but no, we're going to chuck Bucky in there because heaven forbid the guy gets away from the Winter Soldier moniker at last.
The two that blow my mind, I understand one of them because there's comic precedent for it, but the other one, I'm like, I think the reasons why they're blowing my mind is because they were awful movie characters. Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the brutal annihilation of Taskmaster as a character in Black Widow movie.
Yeah, it's like,
I get Taskmaster as far as why they have her on the team because he was a part of the team in the comics. I get it, but man,
Yeah, because some of them it's a case of like you kind of put it together. A case like it's almost like you can do like an anti-Avengers sort of thing, like what's the dark version of the Avengers. So okay, Yelena being part of it, like okay, she's that version of Black Widow, and it's like okay, we already knew John Walker was going to be part of it after Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah,
Perfect. Put US
Fair
Agent in it. That makes sense. He's their Captain America, and do something with that kind of darker character. We legitimately have 3
super soldiers,
three Captain America allegories.
Thinking the same thing.
Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, and US Agent. You don't need all 3 of them. They're the same thing.
Yeah, same exact thing.
Then we've got Taskmaster, who was thrown in here, which nobody... I can understand them trying to redeem the Taskmaster thing, but I'm like, you screwed it so hard on Taskmaster already.
Dude, it's so bad.
Just let it go. Like same thing for Ghost. I can kind of understand Ghost because Ghost is an interesting character. Ghost is an interesting power set. You could do something interesting with that. We've not really seen like once she's been cured.
Yeah.
Which is the weird thing for me because at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, she was cured of her thing.
Yeah.
So her like still doing that feels weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, you could do something interesting with that power and do something intriguing with that. So I'm willing to let Ghost go. Taskmaster was universally hated.
Yeah. Universally.
For what they did with Taskmaster and Black Widow. Why would you risk that?
Yeah.
Then you've got your Dark Black Widow, and then you've got your 3 Captain America allegories, and I'm like, could we like versify the team? At least Zemo would have been a different personality.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they try to turn one of those into like a Red Hulk-ish type character. Obviously, since I don't want to like, I forget his name, the guy who played Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh yeah,
obviously passed away, so they can't do that. But they could still use the Red Hulk character. Maybe just utilize one of the characters that are already in the lineup.
Yeah,
I think Mallet made a good point though about Zemo. He said the only thing I can think of is Thunderbolts gets paraded around as good guys, but at the end they don't want to play nice anymore, and Zemo steps in and takes over the helm.
Yeah, I could see Zemo coming in and kind of taking charge of it.
Yeah.
Because the team is like, a lot of the team I looked at and I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense. I can see why they're picking that character. Like Yelena, I get. She is like one of the hot properties they're really trying to push, and her being part of Thunderbolts will try to push a darker side to her. I even as much as I disagree with them being on it, I understand Bucky being on it.
Yeah.
Because I can see him being almost like the Rick Flag from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Of like he's the guy that's brought in to kind of be like the try and keep them under control.
Yeah.
And try and keep them in line and babysit the team to make sure they stay on target, you know? Because I don't want him to go down the anti-hero thing, because you've literally spent the last 3 phases like getting him back and getting him better and allowing him to be Bucky again. Red Guardian is pointless.
Yeah. I mean, I like him as a character in Black Widow. I thought he was awesome and hilarious.
I think he's been added for comic relief for no other reason, because
100%.
he's the comic relief character. I would take him out and I would take out Taskmaster and replace them with
Look at the picture of him in the lineup. Look at the picture of him in the lineup. He's like laughing. He's definitely the comic relief.
Yeah, he's a comic relief, but I feel like him and Taskmaster are completely pointless in this.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, at least Ghost, you could do something with that power set. John Walker, I think that's going to be their Captain America allegory. I feel like Winter Soldier's going to be that kind of trying to keep them in line sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then Yelena is like, well, of course they're pushing her. And then Val as well, like the only kind of new character that we've been getting introduced to. She's part of it as well, the Countess. I don't even know that much about her.
I think I heard her compared to the Marvel's version of Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that. I was really disappointed. I don't know a ton about Thunderbolts, but I was really disappointed with the lineup. I'm like,
the whole thing with the Thunderbolts is kind of like it's meant to be a team of villains that are trying to get away with stuff by pretending to be heroes.
Yeah.
And using that as a cover to do villainous things. And then they all of a sudden start to realise, actually, you know what, it's kind of nice being the good guy. It's kind of nice not getting beat up and attacked and doing all this stuff, and actually like living a good life and you know, getting praised by people. And like at least in one version there's a ton of different iterations of Thunderbolts, but like that's obviously one of the main ones. Is like it's the villains that pretend to be heroes and realize actually this isn't half bad.
Yeah,
you know. But I felt like that was their like mic drop boom moment.
That was definitely that was definitely the biggest drop I think for Marvel.
And I just looked at it and I'm like,
D23.
I literally came out of it going, this isn't as big a drop as I think you think it is. Like, you basically looked at who are the popular characters we've got nothing else to do, and it's like, it's who are the leftovers from Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow that we've got nothing for. You know, it's like the old wrestling thing, the creative thing of like, you know, creative has nothing for you.
Yeah.
They literally looked at the leftovers for both those properties and went, we don't have anything for you. Like, chuck them in Thunderbolts, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that more than a calculated...
Give them a gimmick.
Exactly, like, it feels like a... You know, it's that thing of like, you've got wrestling guys, we don't have a gimmick for you, so like, hey, we're going to stick you in a stable, and we're going to put you in a team, and that's your gimmick now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
You're
like...
in a tag team now.
Yeah, it's like, it feels like you guys, you don't really have a gimmick. Like, well, you've all kind of got the same gimmick, so let's put you in a team.
Yeah.
Yelena, Bucky, Red Guardian, John Walker, Taskmaster.
We're going to put you in a red outfit, you in a black outfit, and then you
like
in a red and black outfit.
It's like 5 of the 6 of you are all essentially got the same character and the same powers. So we're going to make that a team.
Yeah.
And then we're going to chuck in Ghost just for the wacky different power in there.
Yeah, because Taskmaster is basically a super soldier in the MCU, right?
Yeah, Taskmaster is basically like could be classed as super soldier, can analyze, fight, super strength, all that stuff. But so is John Walker, so is Red Guardian, so is Winter Soldier, and to a certain extent, so is Yelena. Even though she's not like super soldier, she's still like the combat fighter, Black Widow-esque character. It's like they're all the same. They've got a team of all the same. Like, diversify, give me something.
That was their major drop, though. That was their major reveal. We're going to hold all our cards to our chest, lay them out on the table. It was Thunderbolts with the most horrendous lineup you could ever come across.
Thunderbolts and then Secret Invasion Armor Wars, I feel like was their other big one. Because we got the trailer drop for Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
And this is one that we've been waiting for, because like when you say Secret Invasion, every Marvel comic book fan knows what you mean.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. Even if you've not read the event, you know what the event is. It's a Skrull invasion.
Yeah.
It's a Skrull takeover of Earth by pretending to be heroes.
Yeah.
What did you think of the trailer?
Alright, so I'll be honest. I love like espionage, spy, thriller type properties. I'm a huge fan. I really dug the trailer. Having said that, I've read parts of Secret Invasion, and I know what that comic is really about. I know what it brings to the table, and this is definitely not doing it justice. Not even a little bit.
No.
Like the comic.
I feel like it's Civil War'd itself. Of like it's kind of got the comic book connected to it. Like is like mirrored, but barely.
Yeah.
You know, like Civil War, where do we get the main thing? Oh, it's Captain America versus Iron Man. They're two teams fighting off against each other.
Yeah.
That's it. The comparison of what the Civil War movie and the Civil War comic, that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
There's no further real connection between them. It's like I feel like Secret Invasion's the same thing. It's like you watch that trailer, and if you've read the comic, it's like, well, there's Skrulls invading and they're pretending to be other people, and I'm like, beyond that, that's about it. That's about as far as it connects with the comic, because like this is like a full-blown Nick Fury show.
Yeah, I mean, in the comic, like it goes so far as to, like, the Skrulls have been kidnapping superheroes and cloning them basically, and creating Skrull basically versions of them, and have been living with the other superheroes for years. Like, it's a huge event. It's a huge story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive thing. It was a massive thing in Marvel to retcon anything they wanted.
Yeah.
Because you could literally go back to any version of a character you wanted and go, oh, since this point, they've been a Skrull.
Yeah.
All the stuff that you didn't like the way the direction this character went, I was like, oh, they've been a Skrull this whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It was
like,
the perfect vehicle for retconning.
you know what I mean? It's like, it was the perfect opportunity. Don't get me wrong, I kind of feel bad in the comics. You can literally retcon everything. Ant-Man
Yeah.
still hit his wife. Even a Skrull invasion didn't frickin' retcon that for some
Oh my
reason, but
gosh.
like, poor Hank Pym never got away with that one. You literally could have undone it. That's why he hit his wife. It was actually a Skrull. Nope.
Yeah.
But it's like you could literally get away with anything, and I feel like in my head when you say Secret Invasion, I'm thinking this is potential to do flashbacks, like one last appearance for Chris Evans, one last appearance from Robert Downey Jr., one last appearance of, you know, certain characters showing up, or characters showing up that you're not expecting, and it's like, and it turns out it's not them. You know, because we already did a little bit of that with Captain Marvel, like with them, you know, like even like with Coulson appearing and Nick Fury and like them Skrulls playing them and different things. It's like there was so much you could do with that, and it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's scaled down so much
Yeah, I agree.
because
I like it.
there's this weird thing that they're doing in Marvel in the MCU. For some reason, they really want us to like the Skrulls. The Skrulls are like the quintessential, in the comics, are the quintessential bad guy aliens.
Yeah.
For anything. Any of your villain needs that needs an alien species, the Skrulls fit it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, since Captain Marvel, when they were introduced, they've really pushed this whole thing of them. They're not bad. They're
Yeah.
just trying to live their life, and I'm like, no,
They're horrible.
they're awful. Like, really, you've literally got the Fantastic Four coming in the next few years, and you've literally gotten rid of one of their biggest enemies, the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't see a Super Skrull at some point, I'm going to be so mad. Like, seriously, you know what I mean? It's like, it's such a scaled down version.
Yeah, Mallet says it's hard to take such a big story and condense it down to a single movie. Secret Invasion would make a better series.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing. They're doing a mini-series-esque thing with it, and it's like, but it's not even a Skrull invasion. It's a rogue group of Skrulls that are trying to do this. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so I don't, because like even like that's like it's a Skrull invasion from the comics. Like, okay, I know what that means, and I'm like, well, what does this look like? This rogue group of Skrulls. Well, why have they gone rogue? What are they actually trying to accomplish? Are they trying to take over? Are they just trying to get something?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I got part of the story from the trailer, but the other part of me is like, I still don't totally know what's going on. I mean, I'm intrigued enough to watch it.
Yeah.
And I think I think Sam Jackson like heading it up as Nick Fury, I think works. It definitely is. It's something we've been dying for a long time, is a chance for him to really shine as Nick Fury, not as an extra character, but actually getting his own show or movie to shine.
I'll say before the trailer, I wasn't really interested in Secret Wars. I'm not really interested in Armor Wars either, or Secret Invasion rather. And I'm not really interested in Armor Wars either. They're just not on my radar. But after the trailer, I'm definitely intrigued. I definitely want to see what it's all about. But again, coming from the comics, and they did sort of the same thing like you said with Civil War. I feel like they did something similar with Infinity War / Endgame, although not to the extent they did with Civil War.
Yeah.
Where they're taking these huge, epic, moments and runs in comics and condensing them down to a few moments, a few huge moments, as opposed to this gigantic narrative that they are in the comics. And I get why they're doing it, right? It's the medium. You've got to condense it down. But
also you don't have the history of the Marvel comics behind it. Like, you don't have the history with the Skrulls to do a Secret Invasion. It's like you've only got certain stuff because the timeline for the MCU is very different from the timeline for Marvel comics. It's like, so like Civil War, you couldn't have done Civil War the same way you done in the comics because there's just not a set thing in the comics for it. Like, there's not the same amount of heroes. Not to mention, most of the heroes at that point in the MCU, people know who they are. People know that Steve Rogers is Captain America, and that Iron Man is Tony Stark, and that the Hulk is Bruce Banner, and that Thor's a god, and most people know who they are.
Yeah.
So doing a thing where you have to register their superhero identities doesn't work.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. You can't do a Secret Invasion at this point. You would have to do it on the scale that they were doing it. You would have to do it years in the future with the Skrulls being built up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you do it years in the future and try to do it to that scale, well, you've already lost half your main MCU actors. So what are you going to do with it? And it's like,
Yeah.
I think they're doing the best story they can with the Secret Invasion idea. I don't think it could have been bigger than this for the MCU, because I don't think, with all the big stories they're working towards, I don't think this is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
I don't think Secret Invasion is a massive thing. Like, you've just done Thanos, we're building up to Kang, we're probably building up to Doom with Secret Wars. Secret Invasion with the Skrulls isn't exactly a massive priority. You know, like, to do on that level of a scale.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was the big thing. The biggest things that I got out of this, though, were like, this is going to be very Fury focused, very small espionage type show, which I wasn't quite expecting. Like, with the whole thing with Monica Rambeau at the end of WandaVision, I thought we were going to see her as part of it, and I thought like Fury was going to be set in space and there was going to be a bit more sci-fi to it, but it's very much more on Earth espionage thriller.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we're getting a lot of James Rhodes in it. He's going to be highly involved in it, and then that's also going to go into Armor Wars, which is going to be dealing with the fallout of Secret Invasion.
Do you think we'll get Hammer in Armor Wars?
Funnily enough, off of another announcement that they had at the event, I initially would have said no, but at this point I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, I really hope they bring him back. I really liked him in Iron Man 2.
I thought he was a cool villain. It's kind of sad that we never got to see him again, but then again, like, freaking one of the other big announcements, Captain America New World Order, Tim Blake, who played
super pumped about this,
Mr. Blue during the Incredible Hulk, and was revealed in the last scene he was in, seeing him being infected, that he was actually going to become the leader, one of the big bads for the Incredible Hulk, and was basically thought of as just this forgotten plot point that we were never going to go back to.
Yeah.
You know, literally the only things that carried over from Incredible Hulk were the Hulk himself, although played by a new actor, Thunderbolt Ross, God rest his soul, William Hurt, who was back as Thunderbolt Ross, but like that was it. Everything else was just
Tim Roth.
And Tim Roth, as Abomination. Yeah. Like they've slowly been reintroducing stuff, and I think that was it. We got Thunderbolt Ross, it was like okay, and then we saw Abomination, and we've had him a couple of times now, and it was like, oh my goodness, Abomination's back, and literally have Tim Roth back for it.
Yeah.
And then it was like Captain America New World Order, or Tim Blake's coming back 14 years later.
Yeah.
Since he last played the character, to properly play the leader and basically become the villain for Captain America New World Order. And I'm like, I have no clue where this movie is going now. Never would I have imagined that the leader was going to be one of the big villains in the MCU for Phase 5.
Alright, so there's this group of supervillains in the Marvel Comics. I think they're called the Intelligence, or the Intelligentsia, or something like that. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know. I recognize the name, but
I'd heard some rumblings of. So you have MODOK in Ant-Man, the leader in Captain America, and possibly like White Vision to some extent, being part of that group of something. I don't know.
That could be interesting to do, because that could be interesting to do something with that. Because that's the thing. Like, what do you do with the leader at this point? Like, where has he been for 14 years? Like, has he been locked?
He better be green and have a gigantic head.
I was gonna say, like, has he been locked up or something, or has he just been like in a hole somewhere, like working on stuff? Like, and even Mallet's saying that we finally get this, and it's not to take on like the Hulk. It's not even against She-Hulk. It's against freaking Sam Wilson's Captain America, and I'm like, okay, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But also for that movie, we did get some other announcements. Like, we're going to be getting our new Falcon as well. The actor's name I've totally forgotten. I don't have it written down. I had it in my notes, but like he appeared in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
He was Anthony Mackie's right hand man. Yeah,
so he's going to be back as the Falcon, which we all kind of, if you know the character's name, you expected it coming because it's from the comics during his time. He ends up getting a psychic Falcon himself, so we expected that to come. And then Shira Haas, cast as Israeli superhero Sabra, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know much about this character, but I've seen
I don't
people
know anything.
popping off about this. I think mostly because she's playing an Israeli superhero, which I'm like, of course she is, because like we're starting to bring heroes in from everywhere. We literally had freaking Egyptian heroes like with Moon Knight, so of course we're starting to head over in that direction and bring more people in. It's like, I don't know why that's that big of a shock.
Yeah.
But I know literally nothing about Sabra. Like I saw the announcement for that and I'm like, I had no reaction. Like
I didn't even know
don't
she
the
existed
character.
until this weekend. So
Like, I don't know the character. This is not a character I know of, and
yeah.
I've not had a chance to even really look up anything for it.
Yeah.
So if she's a major thing and I am totally missing her, anyone that's listening now or once the podcast is done, I completely apologise if this is a massive thing, but I'm completely not. Like, even if it's oh, she's a mutant?
Yeah, apparently.
That'd be interesting. But no, apparently X-Men aren't going to be showing up for a while, but yet we're introducing another possible mutant.
Then somebody on Twitter was like, then why are you playing the freaking 90s X-Men animated theme on every property you own now?
I know,
like,
right?
That's a really good question. That's a really
like-
good question.
It's like, stop talking about it, we're not bringing the X-Men in for a while. Stop playing the X-Men theme song during your movies and shows
Stop
then.
dressing Patrick Stewart up as the cartoon.
I know, it's like you brought Patrick Stewart out on literally the yellow floating chair
You
for the
know what
X-Men
you're doing.
cartoon, and I'm like, you're wanting to
know
talk
what you're
about
doing.
it, and then you're like, but don't get your hopes up, and I'm like, well, stop getting our hopes up then.
Well, I mean, all right. So I'm going to go off topic just for a second. So speaking of
Us
X-Men,
going off topic? Never.
so we have obviously they've laid out the whole multiverse saga, right?
Yeah.
So we have it going all the way to Secret Wars, and now there's which I think, I think each phase is like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So
Yeah,
you're
something
looking
like
at, I mean, maybe what are we're in 2022, so maybe 2028, 2027 for Secret Wars. Do you legitimately think they'll have an established mutant presence by Secret Wars?
No.
No, there's no way.
There's no way it's going to happen. I legitimately think we're not going to get mutants until after Phase 6.
There's going to be a mutant saga. I bet money on it.
Oh yeah, that's going to be next.
Yeah.
That's why they're holding off, I feel, because
That is
because we are not.
incredibly
Because think about it
disappointing.
this way. Think about what we know about Fantastic Four so far. We've now got a director for it. We've got a release date for it. We've got casting rumors galore. The possibility of Doctor Doom showing up in Wakanda Forever has been rumored. All this different stuff round about it. We got Krasinski appearing in the Multiverse of Madness as Reed Richards. So you've had all these hints to Fantastic Four, rumours, announcements, different things. We are not even getting Fantastic Four till the beginning of Phase 6. I'm kind of not surprised we've had nothing in Fantastic Four, because as much as there's been hype around it, we're literally not getting anything until 2 phases away kicks off.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm annoyed we didn't get any Fantastic Four news either, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's still quite a bit off.
Yeah.
And then they said like X-Men's coming after that. There's no way, unless the X-Men get brought in during Phase 6 and are wrapped into the multiverse fight at the end of that, and the fight with Kang, and like are brought in during Secret Wars.
I mean, like, part of me,
I literally think the mutant saga is going to be the third phase, the third like era of it.
part of me is like, the X-Men and the mutants are bigger than everything that has been revealed from Phase 1 to 4, in my opinion. The
I think
X-Men and that is just, it's bigger than all of it. So
Well,
like,
think
to
about it
pack
though.
that into one phase, or to one to Phase 6, it's
Yeah.
just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I mean, because think about it. Where do you go next?
Yeah.
After Kang, and after the multiverse, and after Secret Wars, which, quote me now on this, by the way, when everyone's like watches Secret Wars, everyone's going to be like, Kang who?
Yeah.
When we get to
Yeah.
Secret Wars, because everyone's going to be talking about Doom.
Dude, I'm almost done with Secret Wars, by the way. It's
I told you,
so
see
good.
when you sent me the text, I love the fact you text me at first, that when you first started reading that, you weren't quite getting into it at first.
Yeah.
And then I got that text from you, and I'm like, okay, he's in now. Like that
Well,
moment.
so, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's a couple moments in there with Doom, and I'm like, holy word, because I've not read a whole lot of Doom stuff, and I know he's your boy.
But there's
So I
that
wanted-
moment
I
when
wanted
you're
to-
like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, freaking awesome. It's gonna, if they even allude to some of the stuff that's popping off in Secret Wars by Hickman, It'll be incredible. It's gonna blow Endgame and Infinity War out of the water if they can do it right.
100%. If they pull it off when we get God Emperor Doom, dude, I am going to lose it. If we get God Emperor Doom before Secret Wars, like if that's the big in for it. But like after all of that stuff, where do you go next? And like brand new world, X-Men. I'm like, because not only do you open up mutants as the new storytelling tool, the X-Men movies. Because think about it, how many heroes are we going to lose again after phase 5 and 6? How many actors' contracts are going to be up? Are we still going to have Spider-Man, and we're still going to have our Doctor Strange? You do X-Men, what have you got? X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force, Deadpool. You know, you've got all these X teams, as well as solo characters that you can do amazing stuff around. And the X-Men itself is almost like its own genre. You want to do the superhero team, you want to do the crime fighting mystery team, you want to do the, you know, the social, you know, like talks, you want to do, like, X-Men's got it all. And then you bring in the villains, like first set of villain, Magneto, like, oh, and then after that he can become an anti-hero and works with them because he does in the comics. And then you're building up to, like, Mr. Sinister, and you're building up to, you know, like, what's his face? Is it Mojo? That like runs like the gaming system and stuff and all that. And all building up to the end of the third era's big bad, who of course can be Apocalypse. Done properly. Because leading into that, you can then bring Cable back from the future, you can bring in Bishop, and you can bring in these time traveling characters, and you can lead up to that, and you can have Apocalypse even for a bunch of movies, like claiming he's Horseman and stuff, and like there's so much you can do to create a whole era out of the X-Men. So I am not surprised we're getting nothing on X-Men. Like, I believe that's so far in the future, and that's going to be the next era.
Yeah, I mean, hearing you talk about it, it gets me a little more excited than I was, because that makes a lot of sense, because there is a lot of stuff.
Because that's the thing, is like, because you think X-Men, like, and in your head you kind of think, oh, like the Fox movies, like, oh, you could fit those in, and I'm like, no, Fox barely tapped into what the possibilities were with X-Men. Barely. And even what they tapped into, they sucked at doing. Think of something like the Dark Phoenix saga, one of the biggest X-Men stories ever in comics, and think of how much they screwed that over twice. Imagine that on a cosmic scale of stuff that we've seen, like in the Thor movies and Guardians of the Galaxy, and these galaxy spanning movies, a creature of the Phoenix Force at that level, and doing it properly.
It just bums me out, like, that they won't be interacting with some of the characters that exist now or will exist in the near future. It bums me out.
Do you know what the cool thing is, though? Once you get past this set of movies, phase 5 and 6 stuff, and you get into phase 7, 8, 9, the part of that third era, you then have removed yourself far enough from the others that you might get cameos of people coming back. Like, in my head, the one that I'm thinking of is, like, you might be far enough removed from him finishing up at the end of Endgame to have Chris Evans come back for flashbacks as Steve Rogers fighting alongside James Howlett, Wolverine, and setting up stuff. You know, it's like there could be moments like that because it might be far enough removed. But we'll need to wait and see. But like, yeah, we didn't get any of those announcements for X-Men. I think some people are just constantly waiting for that, and like, that's not going to come.
No.
At the earliest, we'll get one movie during phase 6.
I definitely think they will be introduced.
I think they'll be
to some extent, whatever that means.
I think there'll be some sort of thing possibly in phase 6, because phase 6 has got nothing in it at the moment. We literally know Fantastic Four and then the Avengers movies, and that's it. So like, we don't know anything. So I think that's going to be a sorry, he's catching Mallet's comment there. See, I didn't read much of the new Secret Wars. I was an avid lover for the original Secret Wars with the Beyonder, and that really made Doom the ultimate bad guy in the comics, in my opinion. Absolutely. See, that's the cool thing about Secret Wars, Mallet, is like, whether it's the 1980s one or whether it's the 2015 one, whatever one they pull from, Doom's your bad guy. either he's God King Doom or he's stealing the powers of the Beyonder. Either way, Doom's the villain. There's no way around it. Secret Wars is his event. Alright, so I think that's everything for Captain America. We talked about the Marvels. There wasn't anything there because of the trailer not really been released. Done Secret Invasion and Armor Wars. We talked the Thunderbolts team. Did you have anything to add on to the Thunderbolts team? Because I never really got.
I was just really disappointed that we weren't getting Zemo or freaking what's his name? Tim Roth. What's his name?
Oh, Abomination.
Yeah, Abomination. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But yeah, I was just bummed we're not getting either of them, and we might get Zemo. I don't know. I think one of the and also not a huge fan of Taskmaster at all. I don't know why they added her at all. Because again, to your point, universally hated villain, no question about it.
I don't know anybody that liked Taskmaster and Black Widow.
I think one thing that surprised me from D23 that I did not think I was going to be all in for is Werewolf by Night, man.
Yeah, you were hyped for this, man. You were telling me how hyped you were.
I grew up on. My mom loved horror movies. I grew up on horror movies, not like super old ones, like black and white horror movies, but just horror movies in general. But so I do have a deep appreciation for older horror movies, like the music and the staging of the scenes, and
this felt very throwback, Universal's original monster movies, like Creature of the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, Count Dracula, The Mummy, the original black and white ones. It was very much that 1950s 1960s monster movie feel to the trailer. It was even in black and white and everything. It was very much. I've got to give them credit for that, off the bat before anything else, because this is what Marvel does well. They do things that you don't expect. They don't always do, as contrary to what everyone says, oh, it's all the same. No, they actually try some really different stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really did that with this. I feel like with Werewolf by Night, it's a one-off. Well, it's a one-off. Unless it does really well, then we'll get one next Halloween. Very, very old school 1950s monsters feel. Not necessarily MCU canon, because it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they're kind of just they're cashing in on the fact of it's a title of a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Than anything to do an old school horror thing. But it's cool to see them go in that direction with it.
And it's airing in a little less than a month, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a Halloween one for this year's Halloween, which is cool. As Mallet's saying there as well, we got our first look at Man-Thing, which I totally missed when I watched the trailer.
I totally missed that.
It wasn't until afterwards people started posting it. I'm like, holy crap, Man-Thing was in that. Okay. Which, if anyone doesn't know, is Marvel's Swamp Thing, essentially.
Oh, okay. Dude, how did I miss that? I totally missed that.
Yeah, Man-Thing. It's not massively he just appears, you can see him, so it's if you're not looking for him, you're not necessarily going to see it, but yeah, he's in there.
That's awesome.
But it's very interesting. I'm kind of agreeing with what Mallet's saying. I don't know how I feel on it yet.
Yeah.
I'm very on the fence, because I like horror movies and stuff. I like old school monster movies. As long as there's a good story to it, I'm generally I'm okay with stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know though. I was watching it, and I don't know if it was because we were in the middle of all the Marvel stuff, and it felt very removed.
Yeah. I can see that.
Very removed from that, and I think it was one of the first things we were getting announcements for, because the first thing I think was on stage with stuff like Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania and stuff like that, but nothing was releasing because we didn't get the trailer and stuff. They showed the trailer and we didn't get it and all this. So it was the first thing that we really got stuff released for. We got a trailer, we got an old school movie poster, we got all this, and it was all really cool. But I was I in my head at this moment, I'm I don't care. Of all your properties to throw at me right now, I don't give a toss about Werewolf by Night. I'm waiting for all these big announcements that ended up not coming. So I think I was overhyped for stuff we didn't get, that I kind of was not feeling Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to give it a try. I think it looks intriguing. It's an old school monster movie. I'm up for giving it a shot.
Yeah, and to be fair, I saw this a day or two after D23. So after my hopes had already been dashed against the rocks,
Yeah,
with no
see,
Fantastic Four news.
See, this was the first thing I seen from the Marvel panel. Like, because Ant-Man, and it wasn't until later I realised that Ant-Man and Wasp had, like, shown stuff before it. Like, so, like, waiting for the Marvel news to start coming in, this was the first thing I seen. In the back of my head, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I get that.
I really don't care. Like, I'm not here for Werewolf by Night. It's like, I'm glad that you're doing it, and I think it's really cool you're reaching into your old school comic titles to do different media. I'm all for that. You know me, I've highly praised, like, when Marvel does something different.
Yeah.
At least they're attempting stuff. I'm always for it. But I look at this moment, I was like, I don't care. I want to see some superhero stuff. This is not why I'm here.
Yeah.
Mallet saying for my thing, I was a fan of the character in Marvel Comics years ago, but with Werewolf by Night and Blade coming out, who would you pick to play Dracula in the MCU?
You know who I would? You know, first person that comes to my brain? Hold up, I gotta look up his actual name.
You know what I was thinking? The first thing that came to my mind, not, what's his name, Dominic, whatever it was that played it in Blade Trinity.
Shut up.
Not him.
Anthony Starr.
Ooh.
Yeah. First dude who popped into my brain when you said Dracula MCU. You can see it now, can't you?
Yeah, he would actually be really good.
He would be freaking awesome. He would be freaking
I could see that, actually. Yeah, I could see him as Dracula.
Which, if you don't know who that is, and you've been living under a rock for the past couple years, that's the dude who plays Homelander, or my boys, Anthony Prime. Good lord. Amazon Prime's show, The Boys.
Anthony
I'm
Prime.
sorry, I am, like, all over the place tonight. But yeah, like, Anthony Starr, Dracula.
See, as soon as you said that, though, I can see him doing the kind of... He seems like he could come across as that very whimsical sort of upper class of it, where he carries himself just that little bit, you know, not quite the playful, straight man,
kind of playful a little bit.
Yeah, he could really do that. Actually, I could see him totally doing that.
All right, so we're kind of on the casting. We're riffing off casting here, okay?
Might as well. They didn't give us any casting. We might as well give our own.
So we're gonna do a little bit of fan casting here. Okay?
Oh dear.
Yeah, and you and I have had conversations of this. This is not a surprise. So Doctor Doom, who is one of your favorite comic book characters, as in Cross's.
Yeah.
You and I have thrown a couple names back and forth. I think I have a couple actors that I think would be awesome for Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
John Hamm, I think, would be one of them.
I am kind of settled on John Hamm.
Yeah,
in my head, like,
fantastic.
I just think he could carry himself like Doom. He's kind of like my top casting right now for it.
I feel like he's the right age. He has the look, the pre-scarring look. He has the voice. He has the presence. He has the size. I really feel like he could pull it off. That being said, I am hearing. So Marvel has hired. I think it's pretty much a definitive. Marvel has hired Henry Cavill to play someone in the MCU.
May as well. DC aren't making him play anyone.
I'm hearing rumblings, mind you, nothing confirmed, that he is indeed playing Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom, and I believe, from what I hear, he might make his debut in Black Panther. I'm gonna be honest.
Henry Cavill would be an interesting choice for it. Like, my automatic instinct is no. Like, when I first hear about it, like, I think he could be a very cool out of left field, unexpected hit as Doom. Like, I think Mallet is so against you right now. He is going off.
I see it.
He is going off in chat. He is not happy with that choice at all. But like, I wouldn't. I think he's too much of the, you know, the blue collar hero, like the, you know, like sort of characters, like he plays as Superman. Like, he fits that so well. I think he would be lost as a villain to a certain extent, but at the same time, I'm not saying he could not have the acting chops to pull it off, though. I think if he was put under that mask, he would do a phenomenal job. But I think we would be losing out on him as something else.
I agree. I do agree on that. He's definitely not my first choice. I feel like he would do a fantastic job, though. Because I'm
I
looking
think
at
he's a good
stuff
enough
like,
actor that he could do an amazing job of it. Yeah.
I'm looking at him like in some of the Justice League and Man of Steel movies. Some of the scenes that he does where he's just full on intimidation, and then you look at stuff like Witcher where he plays Geralt. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Geralt. Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays a really stoic, really almost kind of like wise character. I feel like he does it really, really well. Like very underneath the surface, there's a seething intensity, rage. I feel like he can do that really well, and I think he's proven himself to do that. Which I think Doom needs that, in my opinion. At least that's the vibe that I get from him in Secret Wars. Anyways, I feel like he could pull it off, man. Again, he's not my first choice. I think it would be an interesting choice.
I think he could. I think he could pull off playing Doom. Like if he was forced into that situation, but like I can't imagine him in that role. If you know what I mean, like it's the only person who played a character close to what Doom should be is probably too old now. Is John Glover. He's probably too old for it now, yeah, but like I can see it. Alright, give me a second when I grab a drink quickly.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, 100%. I think Henry Cavill could do it, but not necessarily should.
Yeah, again, he's not my favorite choice, or he's not my first choice, but I feel like Henry Cavill could do it. But I feel like John Hamm is definitely my number one. Mads Mikkelsen would be good if he wasn't already in Doctor Strange. For me, I feel like he would be good.
Well, they've recast people before that have done other roles. Why not? I mean, most of the time,
I know.
I mean, Mads is going to be under a mask most of the time if he played Doom. So,
but please, for the love of God, don't cast Giancarlo Esposito as Doctor Doom. I heard that at one point, and as much as I love that dude,
he's a phenomenal actor. He is not Doom though.
No way. So I think they need to not screw up the casting of Doctor Doom. They need to not screw that up.
Well, yeah, they've screwed it up twice already. So let's actually get a Doom who's Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the other Fantastic Four movies, I'm like, it's a joke.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have a couple of other announcements to mention. Mention it quickly because we kind of hit it already. Fantastic Four, everyone was waiting for casting announcements. All we got was a director announcement, which was one that was already highly rumoured going in, which was Matt Shakman, if I'm saying it right, who was the director, obviously, of WandaVision, who I thought he did a phenomenal job in that. Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see what he does with Fantastic Four, but like literally that was it.
Yep. And that's debuting November 2024.
The only other stuff we got from Marvel, let me just check. We've done Werewolf by Night.
We got a couple small drops of information, like casting announcements and villain announcements, but
we got Loki season 2 came out on stage. The cast. They released new footage of it. Yeah. This was more footage that we didn't get released yet and didn't get to see. It was confirmed Jonathan Majors would be returning as Kang for this, which we kind of expected after the end of Loki season 1, but it was nice to kind of get that confirmation of like we're going to see him in Quantumania and then we're going to see him in Loki season 2. Now we're going to start building Kang. And then also random casting announcement for Loki. Ki Hwai Kwan, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, short round, baby.
Joins the cast as a TVA agent. Just that, no character name or anything, which obviously known as playing Short Round in Indiana Jones and also from the Goonies, which are probably the best things he's known for as a kid actor. And then of course recently he was in, what's the name of it?
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's it. He appeared in that and that really got him back on the radar.
Dude, everybody loves him and missed him. It's like he's like the Rick Moranis.
Like he came back in it as soon as it was announced he was going to be in that. Like everyone was like, ah! He's like, and then of course we got the amazing picture of backstage him and Harrison Ford together as well.
Yeah,
like hugging each other. All like that is amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
that is amazing. Like people are putting up pictures of like Indiana Jones and Short Round from Temple of Doom next to their backstage photo, and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. But yeah, like he's part of the cast now, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm all excited for it to see what he can do with it. I'm excited to see what they do with Loki season 2, just with the, obviously the way they left the first round.
Yeah. it's gonna be cool seeing him in it. I'm gonna call him Short Round. That's his name. I know that's not his name, but
that's what everyone sees him as soon as he showed up. Though everyone's like Short Round. Like,
speaking of, they did show some. They showed a trailer or some footage from Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah,
which apparently is supposed to be super epic.
It's supposed to be super epic, and it's officially the last of Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. This is official farewell to the character.
Yeah.
Which, like, thank God. How much longer can he play the character? Like, it's okay to let it die, But I'm excited. I love Indiana Jones movies. Wasn't a big fan of Crystal Skull, same as everybody else. It just didn't hit the amazing mark. But I'm excited to see where they go with this.
Yeah.
And then the only other Marvel announcement we got was the trailer dropped and it didn't come out until like the next day or so. So I don't know if it was part of the initial panel. Is it Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur are getting a animated show? Which looks kind of cool.
I know nothing about that. I don't even know.
Yeah, trailer dropped for it. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. She was big in the comics as a new Inhuman. Devil Dinosaur's a character that's been around for a while. It's a big red T-Rex. It felt very like Into the Spider-Verse meets Miss Marvel.
Okay.
The most interesting thing about it is it very much felt it was like a new show for kids. Like it's definitely for not necessarily younger kids, but like for kids and preteens.
Yeah.
Debuting in February, and the interesting thing was from the trailer, it looked like it's going to be debuting on the Disney Channel, not Disney Plus. So that was bizarre.
That seems like a miss.
I was like, we still have the Disney Channel? That's still a thing? I figured that was gone now that we had Disney Plus. Like, who actually uses that now?
Good grief.
The other big geeky announcements, of course, were the few Star Wars announcements we got.
Mm-hmm.
Not a massive amount, but we got the trailer for Mandalorian Season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Looks awesome.
I have not seen that. That's one of the few things that I have not seen.
There was not a lot to it. Like, it doesn't give a lot away.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we get a lot of shots of Mando and Grogu.
Okay.
And them traveling about. There's a lot of voiceover stuff of the armor bearer, like doing the whole thing, "You're a Mandalorian no more." And then a confrontation, or at least a conversation between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. About how his cult had been the ones that like separated the Mandalorians, which is obviously stuff she big set into before, and now that he's the owner of the Darksaber and all that stuff, like we knew that it was kind of going to go in a direction of that, of like who's the leader of Mandalore now. Bo-Katan wants it, Din Djarin has it.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured that stuff was coming up, but apart from those little hints, like there's not a lot given away in the trailer. It is all just like action footage and different cool things happening, and like it's not giving a lot away. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I mean, I was in. You could tell me Mandalorian Season 3 is coming and show me nothing, and I'm in.
That's probably one of my favorite. That's probably one of my favorite Star Wars properties since I think Rogue One, in my opinion.
I think it might literally be my favorite Star Wars property. I do not think I've sat down, even including the movies, sat down and enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was so good, man.
It's so good. We also interestingly got the announcement of Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, and a trailer drop for that. This is an animated show. It's coming from the creators of the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, so it's Dave Filoni and stuff and his crew that are doing it, and it's going to be 6 shorts, I believe, and it's split between telling stories of Ahsoka and a young Count Dooku.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
I need to get back into freaking Clone Wars, man.
Dude, I do too, man. I don't even know if I made it to season 2.
I got in season 2 and then I stopped and I get distracted with other stuff. I'm very ADHD.
I was trying to watch it before Obi-Wan, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
No, I didn't get to the end of season 2 before Obi-Wan, let alone freaking, what was it, season 7 I got up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was announced. We also got the announcement of Bad Batch season 2 coming start of next year as well, so they're continuing with that. So honestly, that was it for Star Wars announcements even.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot for Star Wars.
Star Wars and Marvel announcements felt very like they're two of the biggest properties that Disney own, and two of the biggest reasons that people like ourselves own Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like we have kids. I've got Disney Plus because I have kids, and I've got access to all the Disney stuff partially.
Yeah.
But also, I love Marvel and Star Wars. I'm a geek through and through. So like, even if I didn't have kids, I would have Disney Plus for access to that.
Yeah.
So I feel like those were two of the big things that people were tuning into D23 for, and I feel like we didn't get much.
Yeah.
Star Wars, I'm not surprised at because they've like been refining their Star Wars stuff ever since like the abomination that was Episode 9.
Yeah.
Which I like. I love the fact people are still talking about how awful The Last Jedi is, and I'm like, don't even talk to me about Last Jedi if you're not going to mention if that's catching your attention over freaking Rise of Skywalker. That movie is so messed up in so many ways. It's like Last Jedi. Oh, Last Jedi ruined Star Wars, and I'm like, did you watch Episode 9? Like, Last Jedi has no problems compared to that movie. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't. Is it perfect? No, but Episode 9 like wreck shop, man.
Yeah.
It's like, just give Star Wars to freaking to Dave Filoni and to Jon Favreau and just walk away, doesn't it? Just let them just let them do what they're doing.
Like I had mixed feelings towards. I enjoyed Force Awakens. Okay, I feel like I should preface this. I like Star Wars a lot. I would not consider myself a fanatic about Star Wars, but I like it a lot. I enjoy Star Wars. I will consume Star Wars content, and as long as it's coming out. That being said, like I don't know a ton about the lore. I don't know a ton about like backstories and all that stuff.
No, I've got friends. I've like read all the extended universe stuff before Disney took over. That were reading all the books and all the different. I know none of that stuff. Like I know the movies and the TV shows. That's
same. But like I had mixed reactions. I enjoyed The Force Awakens for what it was. There was some parts I was like, oh, that's dumb. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. And The Last Jedi and Return of Skywalker or Rise of Skywalker or whatever, I was just like, meh, they were okay. They had some cool parts, but other than that, they were okay.
Yeah, I mean, I felt Last Jedi was okay. Like, I feel like it gets a lot of bad rap, and I'm not sure why. Like, it felt alright for what it was. Like, it wasn't... was it amazing? No. It wasn't awful, though.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker was just a train wreck.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is happening. Why? Because Star Wars! And that's how we get away with everything in that movie.
More!
I'm like, it's so bad. But yeah, so like I kind of wasn't surprised there wasn't more Star Wars announcements and stuff, but like Marvel, like it shocked me.
Well, so a couple of the smaller announcements from Marvel. So talking about Ironheart, so they did announce the main baddie for Ironheart.
Oh yes, the Hood.
Anthony Ramos's character, the Hood, which I don't know a lot about that character.
I don't know.
Magical, apparently.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that apparently we might get Agatha appearing and stuff like that as like someone who's been a mentor to him and stuff. So it might be like flashbacks or stuff.
Okay.
And like connecting that, which I think, yeah, good. You should probably connect in the Agatha show you out of nowhere decided you had to make.
Like of all the people you can make a show of, you decided to make a show of a character. Whatever.
You know why? Because the song was really successful. They went, "Oh, everybody loves Agatha. Let's give her a show."
That's the only reason. And I love her as a character.
She's a great character,
as an actor, as an actor and a character.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like don't. But that's the thing. They don't need a show. She doesn't need a show. She's a. Why is Ironheart's main bad guy a mage? So confused. I'm assuming Mallet, because I don't know who Ironheart's main villain is. I don't think she was even in the comics long enough on a solo run to actually get one before they're like getting nobody cares. I'm assuming they're trying to do what was meant to be the Iron Man versus Mandarin story that they never actually pulled off in the movies, which was meant to be technology versus magic, like science versus mysticism. Like that's because that was the whole thing with the Mandarin and Iron Man.
Yeah,
it was meant to be intelligence and technology and science against magic and mysticism, and so I feel like they're probably trying to capture that because it's the Hood. Nobody knows who the Hood is. He's a low-level tier villain. Who's Ironheart? Nobody knows who Ironheart is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they're not big-level names, so like, smash together, make a show.
Is that going to be a TV show or a movie?
I believe it's a Disney Plus show, Ironheart. Okay. I think she's appearing in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, I do know that.
which I'm intrigued about because like, does that mean she's Wakandan? She might actually be Wakandan in the comics. I don't know, but I didn't
Yeah.
think she was.
So they did show footage of Ironheart apparently.
Mm.
It
Oh, did they? I missed
shows,
that.
yeah, apparently it shows Riri Williams, who's Ironheart, the main title character, talking to a high-tech necklace, and more of just her adventures about building things at MIT. We do get a glimpse of her in the armor.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't. Again, I feel like I say this a lot with the new stuff. It's not really on my radar. I don't really care, honestly.
With Ironheart, I never cared about the comic character
Yeah,
because like when she was brought into the comics, it felt like she was shoehorned in because they were doing a
yeah.
whole thing of like Tony Stark going into a coma,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed like it was in a period when they were doing a lot of replacement characters, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but other replacement characters made sense. Like Sam Wilson as Captain America, like made sense. You built up to that. Jane Foster
Yeah,
as Thor made sense. Miles Morales as Spider Man made sense. You'd built up to that, and
yeah,
they just went random girl is now Iron Man.
yeah,
But then right next to it, you also had infamous Iron Man, who was like a now like healed Doctor Doom,
mm-hmm.
going about Victor Von Doom in his own Iron Man armor, which to me was a lot more of an interesting concept than just this random chick I was meant to care about that I had no idea who she was and that they had not built up to take over for Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then like a few months later, she was kicked out and she was like stuck with like the teen heroes again because Tony was back.
Dude, I did not know about Infamous Doctor Doom. That's sweet. Or Infamous Iron Man.
Yeah, like it was such a random thing. It didn't last long, but it was just such a cool concept. Yeah, I think that's it though. I think she's probably going to end up being some sort of like connection to Wakanda.
Yeah.
You know, the community outreach stuff that they started doing in Black Panther. I think we'll see some of that, and that's how they'll find her. And then that's going to be more of her mentor because obviously in the comics, like Tony Stark is like her AI
Yeah.
and stuff, and that's kind of her mentor into becoming it. So I think it's going to become
Yeah.
like Shuri and like the Wakandans are going to be her mentor, and um. But yeah, it's like I'm not hyped for Ironheart. I've never cared about the character in the
No.
comics, so like when they said she's getting her own show, and I'm like,
So? That sounds really mean. That sounded super dismissive, but
But I'm like, of all the characters to get the show,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many amazing characters out there. Like she wasn't near the top of my list, you know.
Yeah.
Um, show wise, I don't think there's anything else to mention for Marvel.
No.
One of the cool things we did mention though was around. So I was going to say there was a couple of game announcements.
The only one thing I was gonna mention was the Willow trailer drop, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I know nothing about Willow.
So it was a movie. It was like it was big when I was little. It's been so long since I've seen the movie, but I remember having fond memories about it. And the trailer looks pretty cool. It looks like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, to be honest. So it looks pretty cool.
Awesome. Like I might
That's
check it
about
out.
it.
Like I never got into Willow. Like I heard them saying that they were going to be doing something with it, and then they dropped
Yeah.
a trailer for it. And I was like, cool. It's never
Yeah.
something I've ever been into. I know it's like
Yeah.
Warwick Davis. And it's like it's the star in it, but yeah, it was just never something I was into.
Yeah, it was a huge deal because it came out in '88.
It
So
felt it felt really random because obviously it was like the Marvel, Star Wars, and Fox
yeah.
like announcements. It was one of those announcements that was made like you're. I can imagine sitting in the crowd like nobody cares. That is not why we're here. We're
I
sitting
just
here for the
remember
Marvel and Star Wars panel. Nobody cares
it's
about Willow right now.
it's when Christian Slater was like the heartthrob back in the day in like the
Oh
late '80s,
wow,
early '90s,
yeah.
and he was in it. He was a big part of the movie. So apparently he's going to be joining the cast again. So
Oh, so he's coming
that'd be
back
kind of
for it.
cool.
Nice, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That's cool that they're bringing him back for it though.
yeah.
But the only
Yeah.
other big Marvel announcements were there was two game announcements. One was Marvel World of Heroes, which is going to be like an augmented reality from Niantic, the creators of Pokemon Go.
Hmm.
Hey, Dizzy513, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in, welcome to the Comic Clan.
Welcome.
We are just talking about some of the announcements from D23 this weekend, so thank you so much for coming in. But yeah, so like but they announced like the augmented reality game Marvel World of Heroes from the creators of Pokemon Go, Which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense that they're doing something like that. Everybody's done an augmented reality game.
Yeah.
Apparently they're still popular. I kind of like. I felt like a Pokemon Go. Like I was there with the craze when it first hit, and then I was kind of like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing with that is like for augmented reality games, you actually have to go places.
Yeah.
I didn't go places that much. And then especially the pandemic happened. Like I work from home now. Like I go even less places now, and I'm like augmented reality games are not as big a deal.
Yeah, COVID killed augmented reality games.
You know, it's like, and then of course there was a untitled game. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's going to be a Captain America and Black Panther game set during World War II. The little trailer we got for it looked cool. No game footage or anything, obviously, but I'm interested. I'm up for it.
Yeah.
And the only thing they confirmed about it is that the Black Panther in it is very much probably not going to be T'Challa, which makes sense because it's set during World War II.
Yeah.
You know, although Black Panther's super soldier-esque, it's like he's not ancient like Captain America, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'll be interesting to see what they do on that.
Just make it more Guardians of the Galaxy-esque and less like Marvel's Avengers.
Oh gosh.
Which can I just say, by the way, Guardians of the Galaxy is such a good game. Like
I haven't finished that game, but I've played it a couple hours, and it's a lot of fun, man.
I do not think I've had as much fun on a game that I've played on stream as much as I have Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just straight up fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So good. I like the idea of Black Panther and Cap game. Yeah, man, it's really interesting. Like, it's cool to be doing something with Cap that's not based around the Avengers, but more like a duo game of him and Black Panther. Because obviously, like Black Panther and Captain America are both super soldier-esque level of powers. So it makes sense to put them together. I mean, that's always the scene that everyone talks about in Infinity War, isn't it? It's like when they're charging all the oncoming army, and then like Black Panther and Cap just take off.
Yeah.
And it's like that super soldier element to it, so I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Oh yeah, you definitely should, man. I'll go back and play more of it. But yeah, it's like, but I think that was the last big announcement I had on my thing. I don't think I had any others.
The only thing that I can think of is like I think they showed some footage from Echo.
I
show,
never really mentioned that just because it was tied in with Daredevil. It's like they brought them out on stage, and it's essentially the same cast because D'Onofrio's going to be in it, Daredevil's going to appear in it. They showed footage that we never got to see, and it's like, okay, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like Echo was going to be 100% overshadowed and forgotten about as soon as you mentioned Daredevil was a thing.
Yep.
Because they're trying to do the whole thing of like the way that they ended like Hawkeye, like Echo shooting him and setting up that thing with Kingpin from the comics, and like that's really cool. Nobody cares because all everyone cares about is Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like everyone cares about Daredevil. That's it. And I'm like Echo, and I'm like, has she had enough build up to be literally get her own freaking like show? Like really?
Yeah.
I'm not against her getting her own show. I'm glad that an actor who's deaf is getting like a push like that. I think that's a really cool bit of representation. I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like we don't know anything about you. Like what we got in the Hawkeye was not enough, and I'm like, I feel like they've gotten to this place in Marvel where it's like they're literally just throwing like a character. This character appeared and people liked them. Give them a show or give them a movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
I'm like, not everyone needs a show and a movie. Like Agatha Harkness doesn't need her own show.
No. Wanda does not need another movie. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, let me mention that. Actually, that was something I was going to mention. Thank you for saying, because I wanted to go through some of the rumors that people were expecting from D23 that we never got, and some that are like, there's really no reason we didn't get some of these. First of all, I think if you see me posting on Twitter like early on Saturday from our Twitter, all the conversation was about freaking Scarlet Witch solo project. Yeah. Everyone wanted a Scarlet Witch solo project. Which, on herself, by the way, Elizabeth Olsen, phenomenal in the role.
Phenomenal.
Everyone adores her as Scarlet Witch and wants to see more of her.
Phenomenal.
I'd be okay with her getting a solo project depending what you did with it. if it was a progression from where we were and wasn't just like a kind of like we talked about in Multiverse of Madness, they kind of just rehashed a lot of WandaVision. If it was actually hard, like moving forward with stuff, like
I just feel like I just feel like they've told the same story with her like 4 times, and they've cycled through it 4 times. Like, you had her in Endgame, she went through the trauma. She processed the trauma in WandaVision and came out to realize that she was an awful person in WandaVision. And then she goes through the entire process again in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. And let's be honest, even though that is a Doctor Strange movie, it's a Doctor Strange and Wanda Scarlet Witch movie.
oh yeah, it's a dual movie, 100%.
So she has had an 8-episode series, or is it 6 episodes? 6 or 8 episode series, each episode being 30 to 40 minutes long, all about her. She's also been in a movie where at least half the screen time is about her. And again, her character, in my opinion, has not progressed.
No.
It has not progressed. In fact, she's probably digressed a bit. Not power-wise, but just as a character.
Yeah, it feels like they rewound the ending lesson that she got in WandaVision and then just took her off on a different path when they did the Darkhold thing. And it's like, if they did something different with it, it could be interesting, but I don't know what they would do at this point with it.
Yeah.
Mala even saying it, like, she's grown so powerful at this point, like they've elevated it. And to be fair, she's been around since Age of Ultron, so like, what, 2014, 2015?
Something like that.
So she's been around a fair while. It's not like it just ramped up to where it was, but it's like you need to be sparing with her if you're going to use her now.
Yeah.
But other announcements that everyone was expecting, a lot of stuff that people were like talking about, were a Midnight Suns series. People were expecting Scarlet Witch project, possible announcement of a Hercules project since we saw him at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder. I wasn't expecting that one. I thought we'll get something else with him before he gets a solo.
Yeah.
Lot of people mad that we didn't get an announcement of Moon Knight Season 2. Everyone was expecting that, especially after the little hint that Oscar Isaac gave of why they were in Egypt recently filming. Like, a lot of people were expecting that. Some people were expecting a possible Eternals 2 mention, possible Doctor Strange 3, X-Men, which we always talked about. People were expecting the cast of Fantastic Four to be announced, the mention of Deadpool 3 and Shang-Chi 2.
Yeah, those... What's up with that? That wasn't even announced.
You know, people are expecting like Shang-Chi 2 to get announced soon, Deadpool 3, everyone knows that Deadpool 3 is coming, but we just don't have a release date for it, so people were expecting that. People were expecting mentions on more information on a Wonder Man show and the Okoye show, and that are meant to be coming to Disney Plus. Obviously, they announced Wonder Man a while ago, and then Okoye from Black Panther is meant to be getting a solo series. People were expecting a mention of a Nova solo like movie or series. A lot of people keep expecting Nova to get mentioned.
Yeah.
We got our first look at Echo and the Marvel Secret Invasion. Yeah, a lot of people were expecting the Thunderbolts announcement to include Zemo. And then I love this one that came out. Marvel Studios have hired these actors and they will be confirmed at D23. John Boyega, didn't happen. Henry Cavill, didn't happen. Jodie Comer, didn't happen. Excuse me. Daisy Edgar Jones, didn't happen. John Krasinski, didn't happen. Giancarlo Esposito, didn't happen. Denzel Washington, didn't happen. Ben Kingsley rumored to be returning as Trevor Slattery in the Wonder Man series, didn't get announced and confirmed. Haley Steinfeld to return as Kate Bishop during Phase 5, wasn't announced and confirmed. Moon Knight and Layla apparently to appear in Captain America New World Order, wasn't announced or confirmed. Isa, if I'm saying it right, Gonzalez apparently to play Elektra in Daredevil Born Again, wasn't announced, confirmed, none of that. Nico Minoru to appear in Agatha Coven of Chaos. Nico Minoru, one of the characters obviously from the Runaways, who hasn't appeared in the MCU properly. Morgan Stark and Happy Hogan to appear in Armor Wars. Domino, Cable and Colossus to appear in Deadpool 3. And Chloe Bennett to return as Quake in a Marvel project, and Punisher to appear in Daredevil Born Again. Obviously, none of those were announced, none of those were confirmed, none of those happened. These were the rumours that everyone was talking about, and when you compare like this stuff going around compared to what we got, I'm like, yeah. Because everyone was expecting a massive announcement following San Diego, and it just didn't come.
Well, I mean, in the way that they built it up, I think part of that is on them though, because they built it up to be D23 was the thing where we were going to release the information, and I think Comic-Con was bigger. The announcements at Comic-Con were way bigger than what we got at D23. Way bigger.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like D23 was basically like a footnote. Like I would have thought they would have been swapped.
D23 was like day one of Comic-Con, which you would expect.
D23 feels like this would be the... feel like this should have been the Comic-Con announcements. Of like the little tidbits here to get people interested to say...
Exactly.
And then go, oh yeah, our event though, we're going to be doing way bigger announcements. And then drop the bombshells. It felt like they got them background. It felt like they, blew all the big stuff and the big budget on that, and then realized, crap, we don't have anything for our own thing.
If they were to have, basically reversed it, so the stuff that they revealed at D23 reveal at Comic-Con, but save the trailers for those properties for D23, and then release the Comic-Con stuff at D23, it would have blown people out of the water. It would have blown people out of the water.
Oh yeah, if this had been the other way around, and like D23 had been the trailers getting dropped, had been the announcements of the Phase 5 properties, the Phase 6 beginning and end, the build up to Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars, Fantastic Four coming, all the properties coming, the Daredevil Reborn announcement happened, save that for D23. Like, if this had been what they'd waited for, because it feels like you shouldn't have done one of them. If this was all your announcements, you should have either missed Comic-Con again and just done the D23 one, or you should have done Comic-Con and just not done a Marvel announcement for D23.
Agreed.
Like, that's just it. You shouldn't have done one or the other. It's like, if this is all your announcements, because you blew everything on one and then you didn't have it for the other.
Yep, I 100% agree.
And I feel like it's sad to think coming out of D23 and like, where were all the big Marvel announcements for this? Because even if they just went to some of the stuff, like a lot of the stuff from Comic-Con was just announcements of like, this is coming.
Yeah.
Even if it being like, you don't even need to do Fantastic Four reveals and stuff, because like you can literally say, well, that stuff's Phase 6.
Yeah.
But if you literally went into Phase 5, here's trailers for this, here's more information in these properties, here's this coming out, and start feeding Phase 5, because we're at the end of Phase 4 now.
Yeah.
We're at the end of Phase 4. Like, Black Panther's the last thing to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, She-Hulk's like almost halfway through, or is about halfway through now.
Mm-hmm.
You got the rest of that season, and then Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
And that's it. Phase 4's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, start setting up more Phase 5 stuff. Start getting us excited for Phase 5 stuff. Start releasing more information. Like, Fantastic Four, everyone wants that. And I'm like, I get holding off on that. Even if you've got that information, hold off, because people are rabid for it now.
Yeah.
Hold off on it. Like, imagine if you just revealed, like, a D23 officially released the scene of Doom. Wakanda Forever's, like, trailer with Doom in it. Don't show the actor's face. Don't even have him speaking. Just have him appear, like Namor walk, and look up and Doom's standing there. Cut.
Heck, yes. And
just cut and confirm, yeah, Doom's in this.
That would have been the mic drop.
That would have been enough to hype people.
100%.
Like, just little things like that. It's like, it should have been so easily done, and I feel like it just... Maybe we did have our expectations too high based on Comic-Con, but like, when you hit like that, when you hit San Diego Comic-Con with all that stuff, and in previous years we have learned that San Diego Comic-Con is not the place you drop big stuff. They've been dropping big stuff at their own expo, because of course they have. It's a Disney thing. Disney own it. They're going to save the big announcements for that. And when you subvert that and do the big announcements at Comic-Con, it makes people then think, oh, there's going to be more.
Yeah.
And then it's really not. It's like, following Comic-Con and D23, I should be more hyped than ever for the future of Marvel.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a running theme coming out of, Marvel stuff.
I'm fed up with
Marvel, you're dropping the ball
I'm fed up on not being hyped for Marvel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and for anyone who's like that, it's like, oh, you're getting negative on it or any of that stuff or whatever, comments may come. Like, I am desperately trying. I am desperately going into all these things excited, like I'm ready for some stuff, and I'm like that was your announcements. Either it was stuff that we knew, or it was like trailers that we didn't get to see and footage we didn't get to see. You released like 2 trailers that we actually got to see.
Yeah.
And like maybe one announcement that's kind of big is the Thunderbolts lineup. Like the rest of it was like, this is all stuff we either know or it's like it's not really anything.
They put all the chips on the table and pushed them towards the middle of the table for a Thunderbolts list cast announcement. That's literally what it was.
I legitimately, with Thunderbolts, like I can't help but feel it that it's literally the people they all went, oh,
we don't know what to do with them.
Who doesn't have a show?
Yeah.
And who doesn't have a movie coming out that we can chuck in here that looks credible? But yet then again, like Baron Zemo was like the one person everyone was guaranteeing, oh, he's going to be in Thunderbolts because it's Zemo. Of course he has to be. He started the freaking Thunderbolts. He has to be in it. Nope. And like he better take over by the end of that movie.
Yeah.
Like
he better be in it to some extent.
It's like, cause that's the thing. I want him to be in it, but I'm like the other thing is that you Joker him for like Suicide Squad, like, oh, he's the villain. And I'm like, no, because we kind of did that already in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't want them to just rehash that. It's already feeling rehashed because we've just dragged in everybody from that show. And it's like, I wasn't as hyped. Like, see, when we talked about D23 last year, I was so hyped up.
Yeah.
When we talked about D23 in previous years and like the announcements that came, like they were so cool. Like this one just did not feel it. And I'm honestly getting fed up of talking about MCU stuff because I'm fed up of doing shows where I'm like, I don't like getting like, this was a letdown, this is depressing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel like that. I've never felt like that with Marvel until we hit Phase 4 and like all of a sudden I seem to be feeling like that often.
Well, and you and I had this conversation before. Like, I think Marvel needs to take a really good look at what people are saying about their stuff that's just been coming out and really take a critical eye towards it, because you can't paint all the criticism that's coming out at Marvel with this broad stroke of, you don't like it because, either you're sexist or you're racist or you just don't like when we try new things. No, that's not the case. Some of the stuff that you've produced in the past year and a half, it sucks. Let's be honest, it sucks.
That's the thing. We're allowed to have an opinion. We're allowed to think that this property, like, we are hardcore like MCU fans. We have loved
hardcore
MCU
since the beginning.
Since Iron Man dropped, you and I have been invested in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like we've been there since day one. Like I was one of the people going to see Iron Man in the cinema, like who actually knew who Iron Man was. You know what I mean? Like I was there for it. I've been invested. Like the prospect, I was there at the first end credit scene, hyped at the prospect of like, oh, one day we could maybe get an Avengers movie. No idea what was to come. And at the end of Endgame, I was like, I'm excited to see what's next. And it's like, I feel like it keeps dropping the ball. And it's like, I don't like feeling like that for the MCU. I want to be excited and hyped.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling the way about the MCU that I feel about the DCEU. You know what I mean? I don't like that feeling of like that. What's the point?
Yeah. Speaking of, sorry, side tangent. So the Black Adam trailer.
I was gonna say, what the next words are there, man?
Did you see the new one, the Black Adam trailer?
I've not seen the new Black Adam trailer yet. It's like,
dude, I'm in, man. I'm in, and we've had this conversation about that movie. I was like, meh. It looks just like just a generic superhero movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up for checking it out. I think it could be cool. I just don't like the fact that
man.
For some reason we're building the next era of DC movies on Black Adam.
Yeah, I agree.
Of all people, like just because The Rock wanted to play him, and I'm like, I know he's like one of the biggest things in Hollywood, but I'm like, no, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but one of the other things that you want to talk about from D23, I think you were wanting to bring it up, was the Brie Larson.
Well, I wasn't gonna bring it up on stream, but I mean, since you did.
No, you said you wanted to talk about it, so we're gonna talk about it.
So yeah, she came out. There was an interview. I believe. I think they had a red carpet at D23, and somebody
Yeah,
got
it's like a wee
interviewed her.
red carpet thing. I think it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
they were like, "So how long are you going to play Captain Marvel for?" And she goes, "I don't know. Does anybody want me to?" And I'm over here like, "Not really."
I
And
mean,
we've had this all right, we've had this conversation about Brie Larson as Captain Marvel and the character and the movie and all that stuff. And this might ruffle some feathers a little bit, and I get it. And I do have some hot takes on this channel, but I don't feel like Brie Larson was the right pick for Captain Marvel. And in the movie, the Captain Marvel movie was mediocre at best.
I I completely agree with the Captain Marvel movie being mediocre. I am not a fan of it. I have wholeheartedly stated that before. Part of me feels like Brie Larson could have been good for the role. I don't know if it's her or I don't know if it's the writing that she's gotten or what.
Yeah.
Because I felt like we went from her being a very certain way of playing Captain Marvel that really didn't feel right to me personally, and it went from her kind of like trying to do comedies a little bit and jokey stuff that wasn't quite hitting
Yeah.
to her then being this, like, especially when it came to Infinity War and Endgame, like this OP like character that's a super powered level thing that I was meant to be invested in after one movie at the same level I was invested in some of these other powerful characters. And I'm like, I've never been won over for it. And I love Captain Marvel. I love Kelly Sue DeConnick's running Captain Marvel. It's one of my favourite runs on a comic. I think she's done a phenomenal job. I think the character's got amazing potential.
Yeah.
I just have never been won over by it. It's like, and I do kind of like, I do commend her for like, like trying to play off the trolls, because don't get me wrong, there are trolls.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are 100% trolls. Anything that goes like that, unfortunately any like person of color who is in a role, any woman that's in a role, there are a whole bunch of trolls out there who are going to rip them and say it's awful just because of that reason. It happened in the comics, and it happens with this. Like it happened in the comics when you got, Sam Wilson taking over as Captain America, Jane Foster taking over as Thor, different things like that. Like, people rip it apart just because, no, we keep it the way it is. I'm not going to say those people don't exist. They 100% do. And they don't deal with change well.
Yeah.
I am not that. Like, I was hyped for it going into Captain Marvel. Brie Larson, I thought, had the look of Captain Marvel. I thought she looked awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that's the potential, and I just not been won over by it.
Yeah.
And then, like, I've not been won over by Brie Larson either. Like, out of interviews and different things, I'm like, I can't seem to get invested, and I feel like it may have been I hope it, don't get me wrong, it's another one of these Marvel things where I hope it turns around, and I hope I do get invested in Captain Marvel. I hope the Marvels is amazing.
Yeah.
And it wins me over, but I'm like, but it's been making a lot around this thing of her doing that, and she's been getting praised highly for like standing up for female rights and feminism and pushing, the female heroes and stuff like that. Which 100%.
And that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people conflate like people's dislike for her character and her in general as and tie it up with that like misogyny, that type of stuff. And like, to your point, that it definitely is there. That definitely exists.
Yeah.
But I've also read a bit of Pseudoconic's run, and I like the character. I like Captain Marvel character. And the way that I read the character in the comics is she comes, and I know I mentioned this to you, previously, but she comes across to me as like the female version of a Tony Stark / Peter Quill that has superpowers. Like, she's really not like super jokey like a Peter Quill, but she can be very sarcastic, and she can bounce off. She has a ton of charisma. She can bounce off people really well. And I didn't get any of that in Captain Marvel movie. I didn't get any of that in Infinity War or Endgame. And I'm just, again, to your point, it might have been just the writing, how they're approaching the character from a writing standpoint.
Yeah.
But that character is not landing for me on any platform.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it, and trust me, like I mean, I said it to you when we went to see Captain Marvel. Like I tried, like I went in there trying to really love that, and I just feel like it didn't land, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm all for it and hope that she can win me over. I'll hope that it gets better. I mean, I feel sorry for her because I've not been enjoying the Phase 4 stuff, and I'm like, I don't exactly have high hopes for the Marvels because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be won over, but I'm like, But yeah.
Yeah, if Thor 4 and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness can't hit, I don't have a lot of hope for the Marvels.
Yeah, it's like I really hope it does win over, and that's it. And it's like I love that we're getting good female characters. I love that we're getting, because there are some amazing female heroes out there.
Yeah,
and I love that, like, you know, little girls are getting the opportunity to look up. I look at like my own daughter, and I'm like, I'm glad that there's heroes that they can look up.
Yeah,
you know, like even just like she's still young enough that they're watching like Disney Junior, but I love that I can put on like Spidey and his amazing friends.
Yeah, amazing friends. Yeah,
and like, and my daughter's looking at that, and she wants to dress up as Halloween as Ghost Spider. You know what I mean? Is like I love that there's female heroes that she can connect with, and it's like I love that those characters are out there. I've not been won over by Captain Marvel in the MCU, and it's really sad because I'm won over by her in the Marvel comics.
Yep.
Well, certain runs of her, some of the runs have been awful, but like Civil War 2, who decided that was the right option for her? But
well, I mean, you recommended the Pseudoconic run because I read it in prep for Captain Marvel, the movie.
It's phenomenal. I would recommend that to anybody.
It wasn't my favorite run that I've ever read of anything, but I thought it was enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed it.
It's a really good run. It's one of my favorite runs. Probably my favorite run of Captain Marvel is the Kelly Pseudoconic run. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
But
that's our thoughts on that.
But I think Bree's just trying to like play it up now, and it's like, okay, and it's like, honestly though, like I don't see what else she can do.
Yeah.
At the point she's in, like she's in it, and Marvel's invested in her, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to bring it out because like every media news outlet's freaking talking about that nowadays after it.
I know.
But I think that's about everything from D23 that we wanted to cover. There was obviously a lot of big like Disney announcements themselves, Disney and Pixar. We're not going to go into those stuff, that's not stuff we generally cover here. But there was a lot of stuff. One thing I was excited for, we got a teaser trailer for Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I love that book series.
I've never read it. I've wanted to read it though.
I love the book series, hate the movies, so I'm really excited for a new version of it to be coming out. I'm all for that. Oops, sorry, my phone is making noises. I thought it was on silent.
How dare you?
But yeah, there was a lot of good announcements coming out, just not as many from Marvel and Star Wars, which was kind of sad.
Super bummer. I'm just super bummed that we didn't get anything for Fantastic Four. I get that it's a ways off, but
I think everyone's just hungry for something for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for us for this evening, I believe. We will be back later this week. I will be back tomorrow night continuing my playthrough of Guardians of the Galaxy. Been thoroughly enjoying that game. We're thinking about the halfway point of the game now, judging by how many chapters are in it. So I've been enjoying it. So join me at 8:30 tomorrow to continue that. Jay will be back on Wednesday night with her playthrough of the game she started, Lost in Random, which is a really cool kind of Tim Burton looking esque like adventure game, so definitely join her for that. That's been a really intriguing story. Nitro, are you doing Art of the Hero this week? Are you back this week?
I may or may not. I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing it bi-weekly, but I'll keep everybody posted.
No worries. Keep up with our social media and stuff and our Discord to hear about Nitro and if he's going to be doing that. And then, of course, next Monday we will be back. It will not be the podcast. We will be back with Let the Good Times Roll, our Dungeons and Dragons session. We are super hyped to get back into that. If you joined us for that first session, you'll know it was a lot of fun. Starting out our first ever adventure, the Keep at the Borderlands, and we are excited to get back into it. We are super hyped for that. Make sure you come and join us for D&D. I got the first kill of the game. I am not letting that go. I'm so happy.
Caved in somebody's chest.
Nitro wanted to go talk to village people, do the YMCA with them.
I slept outside. I mean, it was a good time.
But make sure to go and follow us. First of all, there is our YouTube if you want to catch up on any of our stuff with the podcast. And we also have our gaming channel, Art of the Hero channel, and Let the Good Times Roll D&D channel, who are all separate on YouTube. So please go and drop them a subscription on each of them. Make sure to follow us on social media to keep up to date on everything, especially like I said with Nitro doing Art of the Hero, that'll update there. And also if you want to follow us and stuff like TikTok, Instagram, things like that, we post a lot of our videos and clips from here. Join the conversation on our Discord. We keep the conversation going there throughout the week, so that's definitely a place to check us out. And of course make sure to check out our affiliate links down at the bottom there for BCW and for Only Crits. BCW Supplies, obviously, where you can get all your comic book collecting needs, something that we are massive fans of. So please go and click on that link and use Comics Cross at the checkout to save 10% on purchases there for bags, boards, anything of your collectibles. And then of course Crits, use our link. You just couldn't help yourself, could you?
I had to do something, man.
There we go, Crit. And then use that link there. Crit for Only Crits, a place to go and get all your D&D dice and dice accessory needs there, and use comics at checkout. And both of those also help support us here at the channel. But thank you so much to everyone who's came and hung out with us tonight. Thank you for hanging out and listening to us ramble about D23. And make sure to come and join us later on this week. We are going to go and probably drop a raid on someone, so please hang about for that and to show some love. And you all have an amazing week, and remember, it's a good week to be a geek. Take care,
you guys,
and have a good night, guys.
Zero miedo. I got no fear. Zero miedo. I got it here. Zero miedo. Now I can cheer. Zero fear. Zero fear. Zero miedo. I got no fear. Zero miedo. I got it here. Zero miedo. Now I can cheer. Zero fear.